Psychology of everyday life. Why are we alive?
To be real, what we need money for is just our necessity needs. Then if there is surplus of it, fine, we can now upgrade it to the lifestyle level. But
Said, when does life begin? Is it when something can move on its own, think for itself, or both? Hello guys, welcome, salam alaikum. Today we have gathered the craziest questions asked on the internet and we'll be putting answers to them today.
In continuation with what he said, we'll be answering these questions based on our own perspective and what we've
that disclaimer needs to be put there.
Yeah, exactly. So don't see us as
we are not scholars. We are not exactly. But we are intellectuals.
We are just answering
are very curious.
What we've already gathered as information. So what you know personally. So
from our own personal experience. So let's go, guys. You would say that these questions, I don't even know where this comes. Who are the people asking this question? Actually, these questions were gotten from Quora.com. So it's a site where you can, ask different questions and post different things, right? So the first question.
And sorry, if you want us to answer one of your questions.
Yeah, you can drop it in the comment, definitely. Now, so Bismillah. Okay. The first question says that, what are some signs that you are possessed by jinns? Sorry, that someone is possessed by jinns.
Exactly.
What are some signs that you are possessed by jinns?
Yeah, I think that's a very crucial question. Okay, let me just answer first. I think one of the symptoms or signs one will see when is actually possessed by jinn. But before you can actually think that you are being possessed by jinn, I think the best way to address the symptoms is by first going for medical checkup to check maybe someone is not being medical, maybe there's an health issue or so.
Yes.
So, but if then the results comes and the doctor said, okay, you are medically fit or you have no health issue, then you are now resort to the spiritual aspect, which can also the jinn possession. So I think one of the symptoms is the person's body won't you personally won't be able to, you won't be the one controlling your body at some point. You'll be controlled by involuntary, there will be some involuntary actions in you that are meant to be voluntary on a normal ground. Probably maybe you want to move, you want to raise your hand, you want to talk or something like that. So that are meant to be voluntary, it starts becoming voluntary because you are not the one, you are not you anymore. And another thing is nightmares are also part of it, where you start
seeing people chasing you around.
You start seeing terrible things when you are sleeping. And I think another one is you start feeling weak. And you won't be yourself. In a nutshell, you won't feel yourself anymore. Like there will be some stress in you that doesn't look normal anymore. But under medical diagnosis, you are fit. So I think that's where I can answer the question.
Okay. So to me, there are a variety of signs, but there are different signs that actually affect different people, right? For example, on a personal note, I know some people that at the night, like when the night comes, they'll just start shouting. They'll just start shouting. And at some point, some of them were actually diagnosed with, things like MDD, major depression disorder. But in some few cases, when they were actually diagnosed, when they were actually confirmed to be possessed. And in some other cases, it was that, for example, I had this person, the story of this person that was possessed, and in fact she did a lot of things, but then she did not know. And if it's in a case whereby you are living alone and then you just woke up probably after some sleep and then you start seeing things changing, then you don't know who have moved it or things like that. So probably you did something and then they are telling you
it might be telekinesis.
they are telling you that you did something and you're saying you did not do it. Then in those cases, one can, as you first said, look into the medical first. But then when you have confirmed that there's no medical issues, then you would start to reach out to different, imams and things like that to find a probable solution.
Okay.
And
Spiritual healer.
yeah, spiritual healer. I think they are called Doki or something.
Yeah.
And there was actually one particular occurrence that I had with someone that was possessed, and what I discovered about possession, so this is not for the person that, well, should I say it's for everyone actually, is that possession happens more when you are afraid of it. Like when you,
It's just a game of psychology.
should I say psychology, but then it is about fear.
Fear, okay.
It's more like the more you fear those creatures, the more they have power on you. But if you are like, they do not have power over you, but then
Who are you?
if you see how those spiritual healers talk to them, you'll be like, is this the powerful being that everybody is fearing? Hey, sit down. You that you will be there, you will even feel that.
But before you can get to that level,
no, I'm not even interested in getting that level.
Before you can get to that level, you know that
it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, and
takes a lot of effort.
There's nothing.
You cannot. We are very lazy about reading the Quran and things like that. We should just forget about all these kind of things. So the next question says, did Imam Hassan and Hussein have any children? And yeah, I think they actually do.
Yes,
they have children, and I'm not too familiar with their names, but I know particularly that I think Imam Hussein has had another son named after his father, which is Ali, and Imam Hassan also had a son named what's the name?
After him.
After him, yeah. Hassan.
Yeah, there was a kunya they gave him.
Yeah, basically mean the Assad the second. Just like how we have those names.
One interesting part in their children lifestyle is that in their children names is that Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein both named their daughter after their mother, which is Fatima. So they both had a daughter called Fatima.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That actually happens when you have a very good mother. There is no way you would not want to, do those kind of things.
And you have good vibes to support the name.
Actually, that's also because the name is good.
Yeah, sure.
Imagine the name is like something like Umunak. Exactly. You don't even think about it twice. Yeah. So the next question, you might even getting this question from. Said, when does life begin? Is it when something can move on its own, think for itself, or both? What is life itself?
Okay, I think with this particular question, though the person actually specify, because if you just say what is life, then it will be like more generic, and there will be different perspective, different view to define what
life is. Yes.
But since he already specified the question by saying, when do we know that this is life? Is it when it starts moving,
or when it starts thinking for itself, or both?
So I think we can start with the Islamic perspective, and the Islamic perspective comes from the hadith, the popular hadith from Imam Nawawi, that the Prophet ﷺ said life of an fetus starts when it is 40 days, if I'm not mistaken. So the hadith does life in the womb of a mother starts when it clocks 40 days, and after then it's developed into stages, and after that stages, the stages of flesh, tissue, flesh, and a whole system. Then there will be an angel that will come to determine if the fetus would be a successful one or
but prior to that, I think at 120 days,
they said they 40 to 120 days.
They are going to like breed what's it called, the ruh, like the spirit inside it. So I think it is that point that we can say the life starts for that particular
that's why I said, that's why I actually haven't finished with that, but I think that one also relates with the biological perspective, because most biologists also assume that life begins when when the fertilization process has been done, like when the zygote has already formed and such things like that. So according to the biologists, actually, because you cannot move from one stage to another in development if life hasn't been in you, if you yourself as an entity have not breathed life. I think you get that. You cannot form into stages if you have no life. So because for you to form from one stage to another stage in development, that means you already have life in you. So and that's for biology, which I absolutely
go with that.
Go with it.
Okay, but, I think I have a contrary opinion.
There's still one perspective of all this neuroscience, where they said life actually begins when you can start to think on your own, like have the awareness. You have awareness of your own, and things like.
But talking about child fetus, the reality is, talking about awareness itself, we cannot know when it starts becoming aware, when the child in the womb starts becoming aware.
And that's why we cannot go with all the perspectives. Every one of them has their view of defining life.
What's life?
That's why I said it's still more, forget about being Muslim here, it's still more logical when we see it in Islamic perspective and the biological perspective. Though there's still one perspective, like the physiological perspective, they assume that life actually happens when an entity starts moving, that an entity can move on its own, and
but then if we put it to the,
if you say move on its own, there are some things that we categorize as non-living thing, and they can actually move based on control. Hope you get that. So, but the one I still go with is that Islamic and biological perspective of life.
Okay, but actually that's because we are thinking it from the life of a fetus and the life of an human being.
Okay.
If you start thinking it from the life of other animals, think about this what's it called? Mitochondria or echinodams? Those what are they called? The echinodams, the amoeba, all this kind of animal. They're actually called organisms. And even at some point they might not move, but they're actually, should I say, feeding or doing things like that.
Life in them.
Yes. So if we put it back to the biology that we learned in those days, they said Mr. Niger, which is a list of things that you actually have to do before you can, say that you actually have life. And I think that is the best explanation we can give to it, because even the fetus, when it starts at that stage, is when the rose enters and it starts feeding from its mother, it does excrete to the mother, to the, is it called the
the mother would just be like an host organism.
Exactly. So in that case, I think the best definition we can give it, based on the question, is it is both. When it starts to
move
think,
and okay.
We'll have to look at what you mean by thinking. When you start, when your body starts doing some things, would that count as thinking? Or when you start, thinking by yourself? Because the reality is not every living thing can think,
Yeah, but I think.
And now,
I think the thinking. I think
not every living thing can think.
Thinking starts from, everything still goes down to the brain. So when you start moving, I think it's the brain. There's some organism that has
no brain. So I think the best thing is not just to move. It's not just the question has been knit down, and it will be hard to answer like that.
So I think it varies, and
yes,
on
exactly
how you see it.
It depends on the organism itself. Some organism, their life starts after they start to move. Some
it doesn't have just
one way. Exactly.
Okay,
I hope that answers the question. So the next question says, what does karama means in Sufism? Where are this question coming from?
Karama in Sufism. Okay, can I go first?
Definitely.
Okay. Before you can actually talk about what's called karama, you have to know the concept of Sufism.
Yeah.
And I think Sufism is a particular ideology under Islamic religion, and they're based on getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through spiritual upliftment.
Yeah.
So they assume that you can't reach that high degree in before Allah without being spiritually uplifted. So they based most of their let me just say religion on spirituality. So it's how spiritual you are, that's how more you perform your duties in the religion. And while some other aspects might not agree to their ideology, we still, on a general note, we still can't defy the fact that they are under part of Islamic ideology that they have. So, but the karama, the term karama is just a miracle being performed by a person that has that high degree or high level before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like they see someone that, okay, this particular person, will see him as someone that has that roger, like he has a high status before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and is able to perform some certain miracles. Even though some people are missing it, or missing the times with mu'jiza that some prophets actually performed. Meanwhile, according to the books that I've read, and not to be partisan, some of the earliest Sufis, they assume that karama is not something that you can actually force. It's something that just come unwillingly, freely, based on the fact that
it's more like a wonder that God blessed you with.
Just that you are just doing something and that thing just come unwillingly. You don't force it. It's not that you feel like you're already in that status and you can start doing things. You start performing that thing. So it's just something that you just come willingly, and you yourself will be shocked. Say, hey, yourself I shock. So all those things, like probably working on a water surface that we know that might not be but the one that's more logical. Like,
okay, let me give an example. Right, firstly, is karama is defined in Sufism, but then the reality is it has a broader category. It does not only applies to the Sufism criteria, right? So karama is, as you explained, is more like a wonder that God blessed that person with because of the high status that person has. For example, now we know of there is an occurrence that happened. This particular is actually a Sufi mystic, Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, that he was walking, and then a madman came to him, and then he was communicating with the madman. The madman said, is it possible or not possible? And then he said possible or not possible, possible or not possible. And he started crying and he said possible. And his students were like, what is even happening to this? They were like confused.
Like something like a myth is happening.
Exactly. And then later on he explained the whole scenario to them. And another one is from the author of this popular book of Quora that we do read. Ashatibiya.
Okay, Ashatibiya.
Yeah. So there was actually one day that the man is blind. And they actually wrote a poem for him. No, he actually wrote a poem about himself. That they might say he's blind, but then he sees that way. So, but one occurrence actually happened that he actually, when people come to him to learn, he called the first person based on punctuality. But then that particular day, the first person came, and then he said he should go, that the second person should come. And people were like, why? It has never happened before. And then they now confirmed that that person was impure and could not enter the mosque. So that one now, it's another karama. because it is very, very, something just came into him and be like, no, not this person, the next person. And then you call the next person. But for some other people, they'll start.
I think it might not even know, but with that,
exactly,
just that feeling of not attending to that person just came up.
It's like an inspiration.
Inspiration. Okay,
that
I'm not attending to this person. Let the next person come.
So it's
you might
something
not even know the actual problem of for not calling that first person, but he knows that there's something wrong with this.
It's like a what's it called, a wonder that does happen to the compared to miracle is by prophet, and most times they do ask for it. They do ask for Allah this and that, and then Allah bless them with the miracle or bless the prophet with the miracle. But compared to mu'jiza, they might not even have the idea that such kind of thing would be happening to just happen, and then they will definitely praise God and be thankful for what happened.
Okay.
So the next question, it says,
the person now can know what karama is.
Yeah. So the next question, it said, is it true that Islam is the fastest growing religion, or is this just a hoax? How was it only 10% of population, then it became 23%? How?
10% of the population.
And then it became 23%.
Then 23% of the population.
Yeah. To be honest, I would, even though I'm a Muslim, right? I think there is a cap around Islam being the fastest growing religion. If you say Islam has the fastest growing converts, then that still makes or let's say revert, that still makes more sense. But if you say Islam is the fastest growing religion, for me it has a lot of questions behind it, and it's not it would go a long way. When you start thinking it deeply, it would go a long way, and when actually arrive to something tangible, and in the real sense, it might be an ox, as the person said. So let me just put it simply like this: if you say Islam, like the definition of Islam, Muslims nowadays, yes, Muslims, you can say they are the fastest growing religion. Why? Because the Muslim countries, they have high birth rate, because compared to the idea of LGBT or feminism or all those ones no concern Muslims. You marry 4 wives, they marry and they go. So I think that also giving the possibility of increased in population.
To what you have said, because as you've said it all along, I wanted to put down in the contrary that even though there might be birth rate is one of the factors that contribute to the fast growing concepts that the person puts in.
Yeah.
So and though we have reverts people that are actually reverts to the religion, but we can't say that it's because of the revert that's why it's becoming fast growing, but rather within the community itself, there are some things that makes it to grow more, like the
polygamy
the polygamy, the birth rate, so which makes the population to be increasing day by day.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best
explanation. Yeah. Okay, nice answer. So the next question, it says that, what do you say after Alhamdulillah?
Alhamdulillah, no.
But I don't know the context, but in different cases you can say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
Exactly.
Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. You can also say Alhamdulillah alladhi ayana ba'da ma matana wa ilayhi nushur. And if it's somebody sneeze, you say Alhamdulillah. So it depends on the context.
Yeah, it depends on the action itself.
Is money more important than happiness or not? I thought we've stopped asking this kind of question.
You happiness. To me, I can say that money does not directly buy happiness. Hope you get. But money is just there for us to sort our needs, our bill, and I think by sorting bills, by sorting our needs, it cannot attribute to our dopamine level to be high, which can bring about the happiness. So we need happiness to our life, but we need money for our basic needs. So both goes hand in hand. So that's why using money to sort some things, so it might bring some satisfaction, some fulfillment in us, which can increase our dopamine level and make us to be.
I think I'm actually thinking that the person is asking the question is probably someone that is following the also culture, and then start working crazily to the extent that you are losing yourself. So that's why it now came up and asked that is money more important than happiness or not? Because I actually don't see why you would ask that kind of question if that's not the case.
If that's the case, then I think because most times we actually
why are you looking for money?
Need with luxury. We actually misinterpret necessity with luxury. Sometimes we are not working to just sort our needs. We are working to have luxury. The luxury is not bad. Luxury is even actually good, because everybody wants a higher lifestyle. But to be realistic, to be real, what we need money for is just our necessity needs. Then if there is surplus of it, fine, we can now upgrade it to the lifestyle level. But now working tirelessly, endlessly, in order to meet up with a certain lifestyle or certain luxury might actually might pay the price.
Yeah, it might be detrimental.
Yes,
because
so
because the question now goes back to, why are you working? Why are you looking for money? If it's not because you want to be happy, then I don't see why you need to make money. If you want to be that's why I see many people saying, I don't care if I cry in a Bentley. Whoa,
a lot of scenarios where
like seriously,
when that thing comes now,
you would understand.
That's softness. That's why it's very good to just make everything to balance. Fine, money is very important, even very, very important.
Definitely.
Just to sort our needs, our basic needs. At the same time, we shouldn't chase that money to the extent that we start paying the price. With happiness. So everything just have to balance. So we are finding money, then that money also should be an avenue for us to be happy, not an avenue for us to be.
Exactly. If the money is not bringing happiness, then there's no purpose. Exactly. There's no purpose for the money, because in the real sense, we all want to be happy. We want to be the family. You want to live a soft life. But then if you are making so much money, but at some point, if you are being realistic, there are some points. It's not just about is money more important than your happiness. There are some points you would have to pay the price for your current happiness. For future, you have to pay the price of your current happiness for your future happiness. That happens at different cases. For example,
what if in the future you didn't? What if in the future you're not money?
No, that's why the reality is. But think about it from this perspective, right? When you are going to study knowledge, well, many of us they happy. If you are going to study, don't lie.
No, that's why I said that happiness is very subjective. Like, that you might want to go to seek knowledge and still be happy due to the fact that you have that passion to seek for that knowledge. No, when you see knowledge as something that is that burdens one, then what's the essence of that knowledge? Though we know that it comes with some obstacles, challenges that you have to overcome, but at the same time you must have this passion this
that's why I mentioned that you are sacrificing your. Okay, for example, now let's say someone walks like 30 kilometers to go and learn. You cannot tell me that someone that walks 30 kilometers, well, there are different people. In most cases, will be happy to walk 30 kilometers to go and learn. Yeah. But that time, I feel it's more like you are sacrificing your current happiness. That instead of having to go and play with your friends, you just decide that you want to go and learn, and then you would
knowledge seeking.
Exactly. But I actually think when people actually do that at the first instance, you might not be happy with it. but then later on you would start finding the happiness into that thing, because happiness is just something we all shout around. It happens differently for different people. Okay, so the question is only if the 3i/Atlas is really a UFO or an alien spaceship and landed onto our planet, what would our world react, and what will we do in this scenario? I think too much sci-fi movies. Okay, actually, I don't know what 3i/Atlas is.
I don't have any idea.
But and if we have all the movies that we have watched, it will definitely land in America. That one is sure. Or specifically in New York. Then after landing, then the FBI and CIA will start, doing all those things that they do. They will start going there and finding the link, and then it will land in the backyard of one small guy.
Oh my God, that doesn't know anything. And they'll start accusing him of some things that he doesn't even of.
So I think this question is go and ask Michio Kaku or ask Tyson near the grass. So you can ask those people. So the next question says, why did this question have science fictions? Okay, what should I consider when writing an art science fiction story set in a universe where humanity has finally achieved intergalactic colonization? Actually, I read one book like that. Okay. It was written by Michio Kaku. And Michio Kaku is a very one of the greatest scientists alive. He actually was, in the book, he was the one that created a particle accelerator at a very small age. Wow. Okay. So you know how intellectual he is. So I've forgotten the name of the book, but it was something like The Fiction of Physics or The Physics of Fiction. Ooh. I've forgotten.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, so he started explaining the possibility of things that we see in sci-fi movies. So from
things that we know that might be impossible.
Exactly. I think the physics of the impossible. I think that's the title of the book, if I'm not mistaken. So in that book, he talked about things like this, and so what you should consider when writing a hard science fiction story set in a universe where humanity has finally achieved intergalactic, I think what you should first is the spaceship that will be traveling, because at that point the spaceship that will be traveling from one planet to the another, because it's intergalactic, so different galaxies, it would be faster than the speed of light. Sure. So you have to,
and the time frame also,
exactly, you have to, I think, rather than developing a spaceship, you can actually develop something like a space warp, warp around space to travel to the galaxies. That was one of the things that Michio Kaku mentioned, and he also mentioned that there would be the possibility of having all these when we watch these sci-fi movies where they shoot guns, there is something like a barrier, an invisible barrier that protects the what's it called. So you have to take note of that as well, that when the spaceship is probably traveling, there has to be some kind of barrier. And also, I don't know, we don't know what other galaxies looks like, so you would have to probably think of that from your fiction, from your own ideas, or I don't even know.
Well, let's move to the next one.
Okay. So the next question says, why is it recommended to read about the Prophet Muhammad before diving into the Quran? Who recommended that?
Exactly.
Who did that?
I think Quran itself will explain more about the Prophet.
Exactly. If you want to start, the Prophet said, Taraktu fikum amwayn. I left two things for you, the Quran and the Sunnah. So those are the two things you are actually focus on. But if someone recommended, although personally I recommend you to read the Quran, if you are just a convert or something, read the translation Quran and then ask scholarly Muslims. But if someone recommended that, I think the main reason for them to recommend it, except if you are someone that you've already started reading the Quran, or you've had some basic knowledge. So they want you to like gain the context of how the Quran was revealed and things like that. So you would, I think it will make you value the Quran more itself. But if you are not someone that has read the Quran at all, I don't think that would be a good.
Because there are some cases also in the lifetime of the Prophet, but you won't be able to understand it unless you've read the Quran and
exactly you understand the context of Islam in general.
Yeah, exactly. So in short, read more about the Quran, read more about the hadith of the Prophet. Then from there you can now dive into this person we are even talking about. How did he live? How was his lifestyle during his lifetime?
Okay. So the next question says that when does life begin?
We've already
answered that question. Why isn't it being repeated? So does Ali ibn Abi Talib have miracles in Sufi literature?
In Sufi literature?
Why is miracles attached to Sufi literature? If he has karama, he has karama.
He has karama, yeah.
I think even one of his karama is that he's a fierce warrior. We all know that it is said that one of the hadiths, I think is more for something, that his biceps, if you carry your hand like this, put them like this, you cannot feel it. You cannot feel his biceps. Imagine a biceps like this. That's like Holmes, bro. So I think there are a lot of karama that was granted
associated to him.
Yeah.
Or not miracles, as we said initially. These are attached to the prophet. So any other people apart from prophets are not people that can actually perform miracles.
And who was Sheikh Abdulazim Salab, and what did he do for Allah so much? Who was that?
I think he's a notable judge in Jerusalem during the early 1980s, 1970s, 1980s. I was a chief judge. He was even a chairman of a particular council in Jerusalem, and he's one of those people that one of the committee that were monitoring and monitoring and organizing the Aqsa Mosque then before the Israel saga started.
Wow, I've actually never heard the name.
He's also an activist, so that was against this Israel
Zionist movement,
territorialism and this their apartheid agenda. So actually he died recently at the age of 79. But he is a notable person because he's one of those people that brought education. So even though due to what is happening in Palestine now, like everything is not working. So everything is not working well. But notwithstanding, he's a notable scholar and he's even a chief judge in a Sharia court in Jerusalem.
So the next question says, could the human genetic code be an intelligently designed program, or is it simply the spontaneous evolution of the biological life in nature?
Okay, basically that person is trying to say that is this something that was built intentionally, or it was just based on randomness?
I don't think DNA could be coded based on randomness
because of the way its organization, the way it's very organized and the way it's compounded, like the shape of the DNA, the shape of the DNA itself.
It's like
it looks it more like there's no how things can be randomly and be more like it will just be paradox when you say the DNA is randomly organized. I hope you get that thing because it's too organized to be randomly.
Actually, me, I'm a very strong supporter of intelligent design, but then I do not totally say evolution is trash, because I totally believe in adaptive evolution. Yeah, I believe in that.
But not all this absolute evolution that we evolved from
self-generating molecules. I think there was even one regarding DNA. There is something called the mitochondrial Eve and mitochondrial Adam. So it basically says that all DNAs of women actually had one specific DNA that they all come from. And it is said that it came, the first one showed up about 300,000 years ago from the what's it called? From the research. It is said that the first mitochondrial Adam and mitochondrial Eve showed up about 300,000 years ago. And actually, when I discovered that, I asked one of my friends, Sheikh Fadla, that I was trying to correlate when the years that the science predicted and the years that, you know, Prophet Adam was alive, but the correlation was not too it
doesn't sync well.
Yeah, it doesn't sync well. But then that even is something I think I would still tend towards, rather than saying it is just based on evolution, because the what's it called? They have been debunking it so far, because it's like saying that, okay, your application that you created that has a lot of code, that even the code is just randomly as how now. It's not possible. So even the intelligent design idea is you cannot, if you have any evidence that supports evolution, you can bring it up. Because one person actually went to I saw one video, it's been long. It went to one of the popular universities and then start interviewing the what's it called, the professors in biology in those universities. It's not Harvard, but it's one of those top universities. And then he first tell them that they should, like, what's the scientific method, and they said observation. And he now asks the question that is evolution an observable phenomenon? And then they were saying that it was like saying, okay, if I leave a rose for 500,000 years now, or has there been any evidence of, you know? And me personally, one thing I do believe is, if evolution is really true and it's truly random, there should be evidences of, you know, we have at least a fruit fly turning into a mosquito, like that, like a very, very observable one, because all those things have shorter lifetime. So since the 80s, we cannot find anything like that
has already evolved from one particular species
to another.
Organism to another.
So the only one we have is adaptive evolution, which is totally normal, because it's survival of the.
Yeah, it's just like a partial theory of Jinn Lamarck, the law of use and disease.
Exactly. So what you use would become
what will be a part of it.
Exactly. Okay, the next question says, how do you imagine life in 2050?
2050. Life in 2050. That is 25 years to come.
Yeah, wow. That's 25 years to come. I think life would be crazy then. There will be so much AI.
To me,
cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think one of the things that would be is very glaring.
You don't even know whether the world would not end by 2025.
Like this thing of AI,
Terminator.
it will be applicable in every aspect, even to the list of things that we might not even think of, like AI can perform. So it will definitely touch every areas, and we humans will be more like, the human labor will be very, very low due to the fact that machines have already taken over some operations, and from there it starts weakens us as a woman, because we are no more putting that labor force in any of our operations again. Rather, we are just making use of our brain only, without using.
I think even at that point, you know, nowadays people are going to the gym. In those days, the gym will be coming to them.
Exactly. Due to the fact that they are working, they are doing a lot of things. Most of the things that, though it's not that I'm disputing that it's not going to make work to be seamless, but
convenience, too much convenience.
But too much convenience also weakens your psychology or the physiology of you. So I think
definitely you cannot compare ourselves to previous human beings now. Those are fight lion.
Exactly, you're already weakened in terms of physically already start to be wicked, even though the mental, the act of reasoning is still there, but physically we already start to decline, and at some point it start to be a dangerous thing for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think AI has its own benefits, but then would have to pay the price, just as we paid the price for computers. Okay, Ani, is Isha a Hindu or Muslim name?
Isha. As ISHA. Isha. Is it not the prayer we pray in the night?
Isha call. Isha, like something
Isha.
like Aisha.
Okay, Aisha.
I think Isha is Hindu. Aisha.
I don't think. I think it's something like Aramaic or.
And in fact, Hindu is quite similar to what's it called? To Arabic.
All these, they are actually olden languages. Arabic, Aramaic, Hebrew, Hindu. Hindu also is a language.
I know. They have
Hindu.
Hindu is actually think Hindu is kind of
olden language
combination of I don't know, but I feel it's more like a combination, because even when you listen to what they say, for example, if they say but they say lekin, lakin, they say lekin. No, for example,
so we call it in Yoruba
exactly. So I think Isha could be a Hindu name, but then I think it's better to name your kid Aisha if you want to. So it
Mommy
is.
Isha.
Okay, it is said that why did boxer Muhammad Ali read the Quran before converting to Cassius Clay? Okay, sorry. Did boxer Muhammad Ali read the Quran before converting from Cassius Clay? So I think it would have, and I think it did when he was in prison. So the next question, it says that why is idolatry not allowed in Islam?
Good question. Thoughtful question.
Why would I do? I think the first.
We can't beg the question.
No, the first thing is that the trueness of a religion would say itself on things that it allows and disallows. If a religion exists and it does not flags things that are contrary to it, then that religion is likely is not true. You don't know. If, or let me say, if an ideology exists and it does not flags the contrary ideology, then that means that ideology is not true.
Yeah. So basically, the thing is, the concept of Islam actually comes to cancel out what we call idolatry. So we cannot still put that idolatry part back into Islam, because the basic, the concept of Islam is focusing total submission to the oneness of Allah, to the Allah's will. So, and what the past, one of the wills of Allah is that we should worship only Him without associating any partner, any form of partner. So, perform idolatry will now serve as, worshiping another deity along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a major sin.
Yeah.
It's categorized as shirk in Islam.
So they said the next question. I think I need to update my code. Because what was this? In Star Trek, what will happen if Zindi attack clinging homeward instead of Earth?
Is it on Nickelodeon?
To be honest,
or Marvel. I think it's Marvel Studio.
I don't even know where Star Trek. To be honest, everybody has watched. I've never watched Star Trek. When I tell people,
I don't even know about what's called, but I think it's under. I think it's Marvel Studio.
Nah, Tom and Jerry, what to be Star
Marvel
Trek?
Studio. What's this second one?
DC.
No, it's not Disney.
It's DC, no. DC.
Yeah, DC.
Not Disney. DC.
DC. Yeah.
Okay.
Next one.
He said, what was the significance of Lut accompanying Abraham on his journey?
Lut, as you know, in Islam, is also a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he also lived during the era of Prophet Ibrahim, which is who we all know as Abraham also. And I think I'm not thinking according to history and source, written by some Islamic scholars. Lut was one of the earliest people to embrace the message of Prophet Ibrahim, which makes it more convenient for Ibrahim to relay the message over around his proxy. So, and he also helped with conveying the message of Allah to people around him also. And there's a part where they actually had to depart, where he also went to another locality, another community to spread the message. But the basic thing is he accepted the message of Prophet Ibrahim, which is Abraham, wholeheartedly, and he supported his missionary. So I think that is the major significance of it.
The next question says that, what would I say if someone goes to Umrah?
What will I say if someone goes to Umrah?
Yes.
Allah Mubarak.
Exactly. Say Allah Mubarak. Or say...
Wait, what is that Allah Mubarak? Oh Allah.
Allah Baraka, you are just playing for blessings.
Allah Mubarak.
Allah Mubarak fi. Or Barak Allah fi.
One influencer. She's actually after at the end of her speech, she always put that phrase, Allah Mubarak, and it's actually interesting. But I think that's the basic thing. Or you can do this supplication when someone is traveling, because it's also out of travel.
Yeah.
Like I've forgotten the.
I'll just say Allahumma taqabbal mink.
So boy, you can
Allah
check
accept it from you
and find it there. The supplication for someone who is traveling.
The next question says, where do viruses fit in the tree of life? Virus. I think there is a difference of opinion when it comes to where virus fits, because it is said that them themselves, they cannot survive on their own, like externally, more than 72 hours.
Yes. Right? No, the thing is, okay, are you done with?
And I don't think they do all those things that we do mention, Mr. Najati, the metabolism, recreation, all those. They do not do it except if they're in their
actually, the thing is, if we talk about tree of life, it's actually split into three. We have the bacteria, we have the archaea, if I'm not mistaken. It's a person to law school. Gazetted. But yes, but and eukaryotes, if I'm not mistaken too. So that eukaryotes is where the plants and animal in them are classified. And so if we should classify virus is not, it doesn't fit into this theory classification we've just mentioned, because virus themselves, they don't, as you said, they cannot reproduce on their own unless they survive or unless they rely on a host cell. And another is that they don't have ribosomes. Majorly, they don't have all these cells that can contribute
they are not cellular.
Yeah, they are cellular. They don't have cells.
Exactly.
So they don't have cells. They lack metabolism.
The definition of cell is the unit of life. So I think
recently some microbiologists actually classified them into their own particular class, which is virology.
It's plenty. The virus.
Virology. So we can put them into that aspect. Virology in the sense that they have life and they do not have life, or they don't have life but they have the tendency to live when life is given to them.
Okay.
But with what does not have tendency to live, life is given to it. If life is given to the shall want it to live.
Within cosine.
So okay. That's it. Next question.
Okay, it said that did the Quraysh pagans recognize the Kaaba connection to Abraham and Ishmael, and what evidence supports it? I think they do. They do 100%.
100%.
Because
absolutely.
there is something called, apart from something called Hanifiya, and which comes from Ibrahim Hanifa in the pagan, or should I say, Quraysh history, right? There is also the idea that they do. How should I put it? They actually believed, in fact, in some places they do say the Lord of Abraham or something like that. That's probably when they are, swearing or doing things like that.
So in addition to what you just said, those pagans, they actually believe that there is a bigger God, or let me just say they have this picture.
They even believed in Allah himself,
but it just feel like they need something more closer to them also, in order to be like a ladder to meet the bigger one they have in picture. Hope you get. So that's why they feel like they know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually sent Ibrahim, and is the one he actually make the message to be more clear by building the Kaaba with Ismail, and because they are also part of the descendants.
Yeah, they are.
Ismail.
Yeah,
So
and
definitely.
another thing is what we should know is that Arab are very, very historical. So there is no way they won't have that kind of information compared to other tribes. Arab are very, very Arab,
they are
Chinese,
vast in literature,
and
Chinese too.
They are very historical too.
When it comes to history,
Chinese,
and,
Japanese,
art,
and
they are very good. They are very good.
Okay, we've answered this before. Psychology of everyday life. Why are we alive?
What is this? We are alive because we are alive.
Seriously, think about it. Why are we alive? Why are we not dead yet?
Why are we alive? Because our system is still functioning.
It is our system. They play. Okay, so you are telling me that if are there not cases where the heart stopped and then they resuscitate the heart back?
Yeah, that's why I said most cases is when the system, because we can actually if we come to a particular scenario, we can actually channel all this thing back to our brain.
Okay. Your brain?
Yes.
But there are people that are brain dead and they are in coma.
That is another one. And there are some people that their heart stops, but
so the reality is, although there is this fiction that I watched, and they called something like the soul translator.
The soul
translator. So basically, it's a fiction, right? But I think that actually defines it better. It said that for me, I'm talking from a scientific perspective, that it says that the soul is like a ray of light that is in the human being. That without the soul translator, you cannot, should I say, understand the soul.
And I think one thing again.
But then the reality is that life, the explanation about life, there will some say when the brain is there, some say when the system are there, is that we still cannot. The only definition that we have,
still a myth, right?
Exactly, that we have is to our Islamic tradition. And in fact, that Islamic tradition itself, it says that they ask you about the soul. Tell them that the soul is from the command of God, of the command of Allah, and they would not know. We have not given them knowledge about except the two. That means, in the real sense, we cannot understand the concept of death.
To some certain stage also, I think it also deals with when you can actually translate, because this universe we are in is a particular frequency. We work with a certain frequency.
Yeah, definitely.
And according to some psychology, or let me just according to some physicists,
theoretical physics.
Yeah, they see this life as two parallel stuff, whereby you can actually transit from one parallel to another
parallel universe.
Yeah, it's like a two parallel universe. So when you have not yet transit from one parallel universe to the other universe, I think at that point, even if all your body are not more functioning, you are still not yet dead because of the lack of that transition from one parallel line.
What is actually transitioning?
Exactly, that's what I said. There's still a myth in it, but that's just the basic.
Although I am a strong believer and let's say supporter of the parallel universe ideology, and at some point I actually did a lot of research, and not even talking about the parallel universe of the Barzakh and the life after death, but there was some particular time that I started believing, or don't let me say, I started investigating whether it's possible to transcend from this universe, like to manually transcend from this universe to another universe. And what I actually found out, then I started making different research of very, very strange occurrences. And there was one in China that, you know, they just saw like a big house in the cloud and then it disappeared. There was another story of this guy in the Tokyo airport that they just found, and then he had like visas of about 172 countries and another country that was not mentioned, and then when they were about to look for the man, they could not find him again. And there's another story, explanation that I do have, that of, you know, when they see birds falling from the sky, or fishes falling from the sky, although it is giving the explanation that it's most likely because the tide took them up from the sea, and then, but that explanation is not befitting enough for me. I don't see as it's befitting enough. So that's another angle that I do have. And there is this particular occurrence of the black fog that happened, and the particular occurrence of the lost Boeing 747. Do you know about that?
Okay, yeah.
It was lost in the 90s, and they found it. It landed again in the I don't know which year, but all the people there were alive, but they did not know where they go, where they went.
Is it not this bimedulla triangle?
No, it's not. It's that I think that's a different case. But that all those actually summarizes the idea of the parallel universe that I do have.
Okay,
but then
because
it's not.
It works with the frequency.
It's exactly. It's still theoretical, and then there is no valid fact that has been documented based on that. But that actually shows us that we have very limited knowledge, and then we cannot know something except what God wants us to you know. Okay,
I think that would be the last question.
no, we still have 2 more questions after that. So you said that, okay, so why we are alive? In short, we are alive because we are still alive, and then we are alive to worship the Creator.
Yes.
So
That's what I say. Let's go to the next question.
what percentage of the world's land is populated by humans? I think just about 10%.
What?
Percentage of the world's land is populated by humans.
10%. I
Is
think.
it 10 or 50?
No.
I don't think we've populated up to 50.
I think 10% is the land, world's land in the
world
itself.
itself. Okay.
Because there are some particular land that woman doesn't populate. Women do not live there. I think that is Antarctica, the Antarctica continent.
Yeah.
So the Antarctica continent can actually still covers around like 1% of that 10%. Or let me just say maybe 2%. I don't know. Probably 2%. So there's no yet a specific answer.
No, you might
around 8 to 9% of the land, the world land, is populated with humans.
Oh, so I just asked Meta, and he said 3 to 4% is habitable, which is of that 10%.
Of that 10%.
Then 1% is densely populated. So we still have a lot that we have not even
explored.
And I was actually fearing at some point that with the population growth, wouldn't we, finish up the land? But I think that's one thing we will have to start looking into, creating things that can live on water. So the next question says that, how would you prefer to die if you had the choice or more? Who won't die?
This guy, nobody wants to die, but with that fact, it still makes life to be valuable. Like the fact that we will all die makes life more valuable.
Yeah,
but
actually.
if they say you have a choice to die, so how will you prefer to die? I mean, I would prefer to die probably, in an Islamic perspective, probably when I'm making dua to God, or I'm in a surgery.
Imagine, I heard the story of this person that died, and I was like, this is the death someone can pray for. It was on the day of Arafah. He was fasting. Just before Maghrib, he went to perform ablution. He went to the mosque, praying. It was on a Friday. Then it went just before Maghrib, close to the time of Iftar. Then just entered the mosque to pray Nawafil. Then after doing ablution, then he went to Sujud. And from there he went. I was like, bro.
That is a good sign, actually.
Bro, imagine on Arafah, on Friday, on Sujud, in ablution, fasting. Bro.
That's a good sign.
That's the debt that you can pay $1 million for, man.
Okay, let's move on to the last question.
Okay, the last question says that is the number of people living Islam increasing in Islamic countries? People, go and do your research. I think we need to start doing more research and coming to wherever platform and asking questions.
Probably they need answer from human perspective.
And the women are the ones that write the papers now. Well, we have AI writing papers too.
If they don't ask the question, how will we be able to answer them? Yeah.
Well,
number of people living in Islam
it's not increasing. It's not increasing, and it will not increase with me. If there are people that are living, no, that's an emotional aspect, right? But the fact even says that it's not increasing, and the reality is, even though there's an apostate rule in the Islamic countries, it's not even, it's not even like it's not having effect, because when you are on the truth, you would have confidence rather than when you are dangling between truth and falsehood. So I think that's my own answer to that kind of question. Yeah. So if you have any question that you would like us to answer,
you can post it also.
You can send it on the comments.
So as I said earlier, please, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and comment.
And if you have any thoughts about the questions that was answered, you can just also drop it in the comments below. We would try to keep on getting better regarding the answering the questions, and then how they are phrased as well, and also the fact checking. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and then
see you in our next video.
See you in the next video.
Bye.
First episode of the Borders Unfiltered.